It's mid-season review time for the Fremantle Dockers. It's their bye, so we're going to be looking at everything Fremantle Dockers today. This is the All Aussie Rules YouTube channel. Sit back, enjoy. Welcome on in to another All Aussie Rules YouTube video. Today we've got another mid-season review coming your way. It's the Fremantle Dockers 2025 season mid-season review, I guess. As each team gets to their bye, we're doing an episode on their season so far, a look at all their players, look at some of the key stats, and a look at what we can expect from the team in the second half of the season. So that's all coming your way today. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that noti bell so you don't miss any videos. And let me know down in the comments below how you think Freo will go for the rest of 2025. I'm interested to hear what you think. As I said, as each team gets to the bye, we do our little mid-season review episode. It's about 20 minutes long usually. There's 4 already on the channel before this one. There's Bulldogs, Kangaroos, Carlton and Port Adelaide from last week. This one's going live today, obviously, over the next couple days. There will be St Kilda as well, and then next week there's 4 more coming out. So keep an eye on the channel. Plenty of content coming your way. Don't forget to check out the podcast as well. Check out the socials. Plenty of content every single day across the board from All Aussie Rules. Let's jump into Fremantle 2025 so far. And this is a look at what has happened for the Dockers so far in 2025. Obviously, opening round, they started with a bye. Their first game of the year was round 1 against Geelong down at the Cattery, and it was a really bad start, that one. 78-point loss. Never really in that game. They did show a little bit of sign in the third quarter that they might be competitive, but overall they got smacked and wasn't a great performance. Week 2 was their first home game of the year. They played Sydney and lost it by 3 points, which is now looking even worse of a result just due to the fact that Sydney have not been playing well this year. It wasn't a terrible game from Fremantle, it just wasn't particularly great. They then turned it around for the Western Derby. They beat West Coast by 38 reasonably comfortably. They had their third game in a row at Optus Stadium against the Bulldogs. Got up by 16 points once again. Not the most impressive performance of all time, but they certainly got the job done. Played Richmond in Gather Round at Barossa Park. Beat them by 61 points, quite comfortable. Round 6 was a disappointing result. Melbourne at that time were 0-5. And not looking great, and Fremantle got done. It wasn't the MCG, it wasn't the best conditions, but they lost it by 10 points. Pretty disappointing result, I think, looking back at it. Followed that up with a really good win against Adelaide over at Optus Stadium, 18-point winners that day. Then their worst game of the season, I think, 61-point losers to St Kilda. It was at Marvel Stadium, but they were absolutely dismantled that day. They showed nothing of any competitiveness, really. It was a really bad day. Followed that up the next week against Collingwood, back at home. Lost by 14 points. They were competitive against who are currently the top team, so not a terrible result, but it is their second loss at Optus Stadium this year. Obviously, their 3 other losses have all been in Melbourne. Round 10, GWS at Angie Stadium. Really good win, 34-point win. Up until that point was their best win of the season. Really good performance, that one. To go over and beat Giants, who I think were coming off a win against Geelong, so we're in pretty hot form as well. To knock them off was a really good performance. Port Adelaide, they beat at Optus Stadium by 49 points, got the job done, did what they needed to do, clean. It was in the wet too, so 49-point win in the wet is a really good performance. And then round 12, Gold Coast, up on the Gold Coast, once again in the wet. They get the 11-point win, a really solid win. I don't know which one's better out of that one and the GWS game. Probably both on par of each other, both being away games against teams that are expected to do pretty well. I know GWS are kind of struggling a little bit at the moment, but both teams that are considered to do pretty well this season, to get wins against both of them away were really good results and kind of cancel out the fact that they have lost 2 games at home already this season. So that is a really good way to go into their bye. It is the second time this year that they've won 3 games in a row. Can they continue that on and turn that into a 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 game winning streak? We'll find out after the bye, but they'd certainly go into the bye with a little bit of momentum, which is good for the Dockers. 12 matches, 7 wins, 5 losses. Percentage just over 100, so not outstanding percentage. Mainly hurt by the fact that they lost by 78 points to Geelong and 61 to St Kilda. Pretty much sums it up. 8th on the ladder. Record against the top 8. They're 3-2, which isn't too bad of a record. Obviously, those 2 losses were against Collingwood and Geelong. They're three wins against top 8 teams: Gold Coast, GWS, and Adelaide. I think Bulldogs technically are 9th on the ladder at the minute, but record against the bottom 10: 4 wins, 3 losses. Those 3 losses are bad ones, though. Sydney, who are playing terrible, Melbourne, and St Kilda. So 3 bad losses to bottom 8 teams. That's their one thorn in their side so far this year. It's a similar story to last year in a lot of ways, I think, with that. But it's not the end of the world. There's a long way to go in this season. 7 wins already. They've still got 11 matches to go. You'd think 6 wins from their last 11 should be enough to play finals, which is certainly doable. We'll get to what they've got to come shortly. But before that, we'll have a look at some of the stats for the Freo Dockers so far this year. Offensively, so far, 9th highest scoring team. So not one of the highest scoring teams. Not that surprising. They've never been a massive scorer. And they have played a lot of wet weather football, to be honest, as well. Defensively, 7th best. So slightly higher ranked in defensively, at least in terms of scoring. So that's a decent enough number. Surprisingly, so far this season, if you average the age of all the players that have played games, they have the youngest average age in the AFL so far. Only just, but still, that's a really good sign for a team that just missed the 8 last year, currently sitting 8th on the ladder, so right on that borderline of 8th again, to be a really young team, pretty unexperienced team. They're getting some good results, so there's certainly some positives to take from that for Fremantle. If you look at the numbers, they rate as one of the lowest, if not the lowest, pressure team in the competition. The reverse is also true, that they don't have massive pressure numbers on them either, but their games just aren't high pressure games. Maybe that's their game style, maybe that's how it is, but it's just a worth noting sort of thing. Offensively, their scoring, their source of scoring, their score origin, it's all pretty much pretty level. There's nothing where they stand out as really good, and there's also nothing that they stand out as really bad in. It's pretty consistent with AFL averages, so nothing too much there. Defensively, however, they're really good at not conceding scoring from turnover. They're in the top 3 in that area, so really, really good at that. And they're also really good at not conceding scores from the forward half. So, once again, top 3. So that's really 2 massive positives for Fremantle in their defensive operations, how they're getting it to work. Because teams that concede from turnover a lot are typically teams that are struggling and tend to be towards the bottom of the ladder. And same with forward half. If you're conceding scores from your forward half, you obviously don't really have the best setup, and you're just giving away 3 points. I think the biggest stat, most obvious glaring stat, I guess, is their clearance numbers from last year to this year. A lot lower than last year. They were the number 1 clearance team in the competition last year. Their centre clearance numbers are still okay, but their overall clearance numbers have certainly dropped off. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think there's a couple major reasons. Probably slight game plan change, but also the fact that Fife's only played 1.5 quarters, which was the last 1.5 quarters of their season so far. And Hayden Young's missed so much football as well. He's only played, I can't even think off the top of my head, we'll get to that shortly, but 1 or 2 games. So they're 2 key factors in their inside mid-game that hasn't been there this year. So that's also probably affected their clearance numbers a bit. But overall, it hasn't hurt them. It's probably working better for them, in all honesty. But if we go back to this time last year, and even 5-6 weeks after this point last year, they were well and truly in contention of top 4, certainly top 8. So this is not the problem that they had last year. they got to this point quite comfortably. It was the last 4 weeks, where they just couldn't get a win that stopped them from playing finals. So that's probably the main thing that they need to look out for in this season, is not having that end of season drop off that they had last year. We'll move into the players. We'll start in the back line. Defenders, so their rating is the All Aussie rule rating. We give a rating for every player, for every match. And that gives us then a rank, both positional and AFL wide, and also gives us a class rating system. So elite is top 10% of the AFL. Top class is from elite down to the top 25%. Above average is down to 40% and above. Average is from 40 to 60%, and then below average is everyone below that. Unranked players are everyone that's played less than 4 games of football so far this season. I think that gives a reasonable understanding of the system. I might do a video one day explaining it a little better, but for now that's probably enough. So if we look at the key defenders for Fremantle, I've had 3 players that typically are key defenders. There's occasionally some others that do play that role. Alex Pearce, 11 games. He's been in the above average category overall, 42.98 rating. He's been their best key defender so far this year. Numbers wise, 22nd best key defender in the competition, so not quite in the best 18, which would be 1 from every team. But he's been pretty solid, there's no doubt about it. Brennan Cox, he's played 12 games, he's ranked 44th. And Josh Draper's played 9 games, he's ranked 52nd. So no outstanding numbers there. Alex Pearce obviously in the above average, so just gets into that category. They're all capable of better numbers than they've shown so far this year. I think we'll see at least one of them improve through the back half of the year. General defender wise, probably arguably a little bit more talent in this area. Jordan Clark, 12 matches. He rates elite, number 8 best general defender in the competition. He's having an outstanding season. Luke Ryan, he's 20th as a general defender. Really good season as well. Top class. Then Corey Wagner is in the average category from 9 games. Heath Chapman below average, as is Carl Warner. Both of them have played 11 games. 67th and 87th ranked general defenders. So they've got a bit of work to do, but at the same time, you're probably looking at your 4th and 5th general defenders in that sort of category. There's only so many touches and whatnot you can get, and having 3 in the top 41 is pretty solid numbers. And then 3 players also haven't been ranked yet. Brandon Walker, Cooper Simpson, James Aish played 2, 3 and 2 games between them. All currently their ratings would have them in that below average category though. Overall their defense not terrible. Obviously the numbers look pretty good defensively, as in what they concede across the year. I think a little bit of improvement in that key defender stock. I think they're all capable of improving. Whether we'll see that or not, I guess we'll find out. But their general defenders, I think, is a really good list. Like Jordan Clark, Luke Ryan, both outstanding talents back there. Moving into the forward line, key forwards first, and this is the interesting one. Josh Tracy, he's played 12 games. He's ranked as a top class key forward. He's currently 12th. Pre-season, I had him in the top 3 or 4, so he's perhaps underperformed so far this season. We haven't seen the best from him, and that's probably a key reason why they're currently ranked 9th offensively, is the fact that he's only top class, ranked 12th as a key forward, so a bit below what we expect. And Jaya Miss has really, in my opinion, struggled a fair bit of this season. He's currently ranked as 53rd best key forward, and well and truly in the below average category. His best is certainly capable of being top 15, top 20 at least as a key forward. So if he can find some form, that would be huge for this Fremantle Dockers team in the back half of the season. Patrick Voss played 8 games. He's also in the below average category, but slightly higher rated in our rating system at least than Jaya Miss. And Oscar McDonald's only played the 2 games, so he's unranked at the moment, but his rating actually has him quite high. He's done well in his 2 games. General forwards, this is another interesting one. more so for the fact that they don't have any outstanding talents, but one of their best is the guy that's playing in his first season. So Sam Swiatkowski is their number 1 ranked general forward slightly at the moment. Obviously does sometimes play a little bit of wing time. He's 30th best general forward in the league. So they don't have anyone in that elite or top class small, medium-sized forwards so far this year. And it's probably, once again, same with their key forwards, not quite getting the output they need to be competitive with the top 4 or 5 teams. I'm not saying they're not capable of getting to that point, but that's just what I see at the moment on paper. So Sam Swiatkowski, number 30 best. Murphy Reid, first-year player. He's been really good. For a first-year general small forward, he's been outstanding. I rate him quite highly. He's number 34th best general forward. Then Michael Frederick has played 12 games. He's in the average category, 48th. Bailey Banfield, 69th. And Isaiah Dudley, 80th, both in the below average category. And then Quinton Narkle, unranked. He's only played 2 games and has not played more than 50% in either of those games. That's 50% game time, so he doesn't even have a rating at all. Basically, to sum up their forward line, they're just not quite getting the output they need from them at the moment. I think Michael Frederick is certainly capable of getting into that above average category. I'd like to see a little bit more output from Sam Swiatkowski. He did play his best game of the season last week, so hopefully he can take that into the back half of the season and maybe move up those ranks even higher. And same with their key forwards. They're just maybe not getting quite enough output. I think Josh Tracy is clearly capable of being a top 5 key forward in the competition, and I think Jai Amiss should certainly be rated a lot higher than he is. Patrick Voss, he's been pretty solid. He should be their 3rd key forward though, not their 2nd. That's basically the long and the short of their forward line. We move into their midfield. This is probably where they've got their most depth. First off, inside mids. They have a lot of talent in this list. Andrew Brayshaw, the only one that rates as elite so far this year, but they've got multiple players capable of that rating. So Brayshaw, elite, 3rd best inside mid in the competition, 5th best player in the AFL so far this season. He's been outstanding. There's no arguments from many people there. Caleb Sarong, probably down a little bit on last year, rating-wise and in actual output. Still having a very good season though. He's in top class, 14th best inside mid in the comp. Bolton, he's played 11 games. His rating has him in the average category, 50th best. He does spend time forward. He does spend some time in the midfield. So his rating probably should be a bit lower than most inside mids. His best is absolutely outstanding. If he can get to that point more often, he certainly is someone capable of moving certainly into the above average category in the back half of this season, maybe even higher. Hayden Young's played 4 matches, slightly more than I thought. Only rated average in those 4 games. He is certainly capable of being top class. I think he ended up in the top class category at the end of last year. So look for a good second half of the year once he's back. Jager O'Meara, he's a depth player. He's not someone that they're going to be playing too often. He's 5th. Only played 5 matches below average. Matthew Johnson played all 12 games below average as 80th best player as an inside mid. Neil Erasmus. Yeah, I've butchered that, but you know who I'm talking about. 6 games below average, ranked 95. And Nat Fyfe has only played 1 game, only played about a quarter of that game. So he's currently unranked. But look for him to really add some stocks to their midfield in the second half of the year. I think his clearance work will see their clearance numbers improve a little bit in the second half of the year. Outside mid so far, yes, there's been other players that are general forwards, general defenders, and even some of these inside mids that do play wing time. But Jeremy Sharp's the only one that's played consistently 12 games in that position, and he rates as the 39th best wingman. Nathan O'Driscoll's only played the 4 matches, looked pretty good in those 4. He's 7th best outside mid in that time. So with a few more games under his belt, he could be someone that shows a bit in the second half of the year. Ruckman-wise, this is always a debate at Fremantle, isn't it? What's their best option? Luke Jackson's been elite this year. There's no arguments from anyone there. Third best ruckman in the competition so far this season. Elite class, absolutely outstanding. He's played 9 games, looked really good. Sean Darcy, he's ranked quite lowly. He's played 6 matches, ranked 23rd. He can only play as ruck, really. He can't play forward, whereas Luke Jackson needs to be out there running around. There's no doubt about it. I think that's where Luke Jackson's at his best. Is Sean Darcy better leaving at the end of this year? Maybe. Who knows? But he's ranked 23rd. As a depth player, as a number 1 ruckman, he certainly would rate a lot higher than that, I think. But probably not to the levels that Luke Jackson can. So make of that what you will. Liam Reedy has only played the 1 game, has a low rating, but didn't play. I think he only played like 55% game time or something around about that. Yeah, he's a depth player. He's certainly not getting game time unless there's injuries this year. Is basically the long and the short of the midfield and the ruck groups. Moving on to the positional spread, so this just puts how many players rate into each class from each position. There are elite players, 1 general defender, 1 inside mid and 1 ruckman. That's 3. If you work it out based on AFL averages, it should be around about 2.5 players in the elite category, so slightly above that for Fremantle. Top class, they're also slightly above average. It should be about 3.7. They have 4. They have a general defender, a key forward, an inside mid, and an outside mid. The above average categories where they start to lose some momentum. They're slightly below average there. And same with average category, which means in the below average, they have a few too many. So they need a couple of these, probably 3 players from the below average category to move up into the average or above average category, just to really even out that list a little bit, because at the moment they've got that talent at the top and there's a few players that just are holding them back. You should be looking at about 10 players in the below average category, and they're at 13. Where do they need them to stand up? Probably a key defender, in all honesty, probably a key forward and a general forward. I think they need to see those 3 improvements. And if they can get 1 more midfielder into above average or better, that would also be a really good benefit for them in this second half of the year. Moving on to what they still have to come this season, just an explanation on these numbers. Expected win percentage is using our All Aussie Rules ELO rating system. We don't give. The system gives the teams a rating each week, and that gives an expected win percentage based on whose home ground it is and whatnot. So that's how that's worked, and then using those numbers, it gives us an expected win tally and an expected ladder position at the end of the season. So they come out of the bye with an away game that's actually a home game against North Melbourne at Optus Stadium. Obviously North Melbourne have sold 2 of their home games to the WA teams, so they get a home game straight out of the bye against North Melbourne. 86% win chance, so they should be winning that one. They have a good little run out of the bye, there's no doubt about it. 3 weeks in a row at Optus Stadium, North Melbourne, Essendon, St Kilda. They'll be starting pretty heavy favourites in all 3 of those games. So they have a really, really good chance of coming out of this bye and kicking their season off. Because then round 17, they have Sydney at the SCG. Last year, they did beat the Swans at the SCG, and Sydney were playing a lot better football last year. So another really good positive there. And at the moment, they're expected to win that one as well. They then have Hawthorn at Optus Stadium, who Hawthorn have hit a little bit of a speed bump. Who knows where they'll be at round 18. But good chance Fremantle will be going in as favourites there as well. Before Collingwood at the MCG, that's probably their toughest game in their rest of their season. But then they've got West Coast and Carlton, both at Optus Stadium. So in that, 8-week stretch out of the bye, they play 6 games at Optus Stadium. You'd think they should definitely go very close to winning all 6 of those. They'd be very disappointed if they lost any more than one of those. Their last 3 weeks, not super easy. Port Adelaide at Adelaide Oval, never an easy task, but they did beat Port Adelaide 2 weeks ago, obviously over in the West. Brisbane at Optus Stadium will not be an easy one. Brisbane are never an easy win. And Western Bulldogs Marvel Stadium final round is a really tough one. So Their final 3 weeks is possibly really tough, but their first 8 weeks out of this bye is a really good chance. They should probably win at least 6 of those, you would have to think, which would get them to 13 wins with 3 games to go and probably wrapping up a finals position. Not definitely, but they should. Those last 3 weeks could be tough though and might end up being a little bit interesting. That gives them an expected win total of 13.86 wins for the season and would have them finishing 7th on the AFL ladder come the end of the year. Interestingly enough, I was looking at the expected ladder across all the teams based on after round 12, and it really is tight. So 1 and 2 are really 1, 2 and 3 are out there clearly in top, and then from 4th down to 9th it's 1.1 wins between them, and then it's a big drop off down to 10th. So at the moment it's all to play for these teams in the middle range, and any losses can really hurt their season, because especially if they're losses that they're not expected to lose to, or to these lower ranked teams. This video's gone slightly longer than I planned, but that's okay. I hope you've enjoyed this Fremantle content. This was our mid-season review for the Fremantle Dockers. Don't forget to like, don't forget to comment. Let me know what you see, where you see Fremantle finishing season 2025 on the ladder. Will they play finals? I would have to think they would be likely to, but who knows? Let me know. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit that noti bell. Make sure you come back, because there's plenty more mid-season reviews coming your way. There's also a podcast twice a week previewing and reviewing all the AFL action. Thank you for tuning in. This is the Old Aussie Rules YouTube channel. I'll catch you on the next one.